this true?
Yes.
Okay. So let me just back up for a second. The first thing to do for the review, actually the first thing is it's on the judging schedule, is to make sure that the entries that you're supposed to judge are the ones that you have access to. And that is, if you miss that, it's the first item on the slide that Ann had about the judging schedule. You need to do that before the judging period starts in January, and let us know if there's any kind of mismatch between what the entries that, if you've got a physical entry that is in your hand, that the names match what you have access to, so, or that you're supposed to have access to. So that's the first thing. And then when you actually start the review, then you review the submission form to understand anything about that entry. The purpose for the entry, any restrictions, say they only have 24 hours and 2 crayons, and so on. So that's the first thing. Do not use the evaluation consideration as a checklist. All of those evaluation list of considerations, it's a starting point for the review. And some of those considerations may not apply to an entry. In your comments, do not try to use humor in your comments. As you may have experienced, sometimes it falls flat when it's written on a piece of paper. Plus, they don't know who you are, so they don't know your sense of humor. Specific examples and give concrete suggestions for improvement. Phrase feedback in a positive way, but don't lecture. And try not to let your personal preferences or your own company style guide influence your comments. Do not get bogged down in minor flaws, especially in large books. Check your own comments for spelling and grammar errors. And in every entry, look for effectiveness, appropriateness, and professionalism. And remember that the person who submitted an entry will get these comments. And they, like you, are a professional technical communicator and a human being. So be respectful, helpful, and thoughtful in your comments. Ideally, someone could apply any of your suggestions for improvement to their next work and perhaps receive an award the next year, if they didn't get one, or a better award. So, and that's actually happened, by the way, that people have taken the suggestions to heart and it's paid off later. So constructive feedback is valuable, even if the work is below average, very helpful. And on the other hand, if the entry is very high quality, even distinguished, your comments should highlight the things that set it apart. Because remember, you always want to reinforce positive behavior, good things. Yes, we like this. So that's always nice for someone to get. Now, you may say, well, we talk about minor flaws, major flaws. Well, what are those? Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Sorry, I got my slides mixed up. So as you write the comment, you want to phrase things in a positive light. So here are some examples. Use words like consider or suggest, and do point to specific places, page numbers, section references. And again, if you need help with your phrasing or you're not sure if what you're saying is going to be taken the right way, contact the lead. Go ahead and ask. It's fine. You know what to do. If you don't, please ask. Now we'll talk about flaws. So is it a minor flaw or a major flaw? Well, minor flaws are just issues that might cause some confusion that but they don't slow down the user too much. Like maybe there's one incorrect reference or page number. It said it's on page 7, but it was actually on page 8. Yeah, not a big deal. You might see a few instances of spelling, or maybe there's a problem, a little typo here or there. There's a graphic that maybe it was in the wrong place or it was duplicated, something like that. Capitalization problem here or there. Maybe there's some confusing terminology like variable reference and reference variable that might be a little confusing, but maybe that's appropriate for whatever the piece is. So those are just some minor things that you can certainly point them out. Again, don't bog down in them. The major flaws we're talking about, things like the organization seems off, or there's incomplete or missing content. Maybe it refers to an appendix that's not even there. There's the style is unclear. There's perhaps it talks in second person, then third person, and it's a little back and forth. The procedural steps are all buried in paragraphs. They've got the same word spelled 3 different ways throughout the text. Lots of grammar errors, consistently confusing terminology, and unresolved links. Lots of 404 errors in websites, or file not found, or page not found, or whatever issues. And then to determine the award level, you need to think about the things that make the biggest difference between a good piece, an excellent piece, and an outstanding piece. So what flaws can you let go, and which ones are just too hard to overlook? So for a distinguished award, we're looking for something that's clearly superior in all areas, no major flaws, and few, if you even find a minor flaw. And we're looking for someone who applies the principles of technical communication in an outstanding way, and it really anticipates and fulfills the need of its audience. And maybe it's not that, but it's really, really good. So think about an excellence award. It's consistently, it meets consistently high standards in all areas. Maybe there are a few minor flaws, but in general, it's really well done. And they certainly understand the communication, the principles of technical communication. Excellence. So then you have one that, well, it's not that great, but it's really, it's good. Then that would be more along the lines for a merit award. And it really meets high standards in most areas. Maybe it has one major flaw, like they didn't use active links maybe in their cross-references, but other than that, it was really well done. And in general, they seem to be very good technical communicators. And then no award, this is an average work with maybe it's got a couple of major flaws, lots of minor flaws, and there's really nothing that says wow about it. And so, again, it's okay not to give an award. And that's the end of me. So I'll hand it back to Ann, or Ann, you can take it back. I think that's it.
Okay, thanks, Phoebe. Now, do I need to do something?
I think if you start sharing your presentation, I will stop.
There you go. Okay. Again, thank you, Phoebe. I think everybody should be getting a pretty solid idea now of what to expect and what will be expected of you as a judge. For the new judges and for returning veteran judges, you'll probably see how most things are just like you've always done, and then there are a few new things in our process and certainly in our tools. So, and I do want to say that judges are the most important part of the competition. There would be no competition without judges. So here we have a little bit of review that we've discussed, but these are the important points. You judge an entry against criteria, not against each other. So if you have two things in the same category, it's not one is better than the other. You take each one separately on its own, judge it by against the criteria. There's no percentage of winners. You don't need to have one of each, or it's, again, each one is judged on its own merits, whether it's all the way distinguished or all the way down to no award. And it is acceptable for an entry not to win an award. I mean, that happens. But hopefully you can give them enough suggestions that maybe they can re-enter it, and I've seen that happen. Consider the technical complexity. That certainly factors in. Some things are just harder to get right, but even a very simple, say, brochure, if it meets its stated objective, if it achieves it, then that's a winner. Yeah, there it is. How does each entry fulfill its purpose for its audience? That's the bottom line. And do you have a Best of Show nominee? And as was already said, sometimes you just know right away, ooh, this is it. And we have had in Washington, we have had some really magnificent pieces that have gone on. We're really proud of our Best of Shows. So that's a fun thing if you get that, and you can send something to the Best of Show competition and justify it and sort of promote it. We want ours to win. Preparing for your consensus meeting. Now this will be emphasized by your lead judge. Bring your entries if you get to meet in person, your forms, soft copy of the evaluation, which you've already by then sent to your lead judge. Have soft copies and hard copy for your reference. That's of your evaluation, your assessment, because you will be discussing it with your team. And a laptop or however you look at your files. Oops. You can email the evaluation forms to your team leader. Again, they'll let you know that for sure. And your assignment sheets will have all of the contact information on for your team and your team lead. Judges, if you have any questions at all, go first to your team lead. And if they need to escalate some matter, they will do that. Okay, the consensus meeting, Saturday, March 7th, 2020, or earlier as agreed by the team. Judging ethics. We just want to go over some of this. It really is important. Return entries if you have a conflict of interest. Now, usually we try real hard and we're screened. Judges whose companies have submitted something, you know, we avoid assigning you your own company stuff. But occasionally you will know somebody in a company, or, oh, I know that my brother-in-law submitted that. If there's any kind of conflict of interest, let them know. You don't think that you, for some reason, you don't think you could fairly evaluate an entry. Judging is a commitment. Yes, if you can't, you know, complete what is expected, or if you have any questions, let your team lead know immediately. Yes, so we don't discuss the results of the competition until the announcements are made, and also all of the results are released together. That means if you're still working on something and you're the only one, it's holding up everything. So be aware of those deadlines and be sure that you meet them. Never contact entrants. Well, that seems like an odd thing to say, except that it happened, and it was not pretty. A judge contacted a company and said that he could have done it better, and it got STC into a little bit of a problem. So there shouldn't be any contact between the judges and the companies. I think that's, we just have to say that, like I said, it's because it happened. And yeah, and don't disclose awards before the official notification. And also that has happened where somebody was, you know, told something rightly or wrongly, and that can cause a problem in these complex organizations. So don't discuss your awards before they're announced. Ooh, that's it. That's it. Okay, we have come to the end. Malu, you want to take over?
I've unmuted everybody, and so you're free to ask your questions from Phoebe and from Anne. No questions? Well, I want to add something to that. We recorded a tutorial by John Garrison on how to judge a big entry, a really big entry. So, so that's been recorded. We just need to fix the recording because it got split into 2 files. But we will be able to make that available to you. And Bobby Warner and Lori are going to record something on how to assess graphical quick reference guides. So that's coming, and as soon as they're available, we'll send them to you. And we will send you the forms and the PowerPoint slide decks after this session. Yes, Liz, we will send you the PowerPoints. Any questions? No questions? Is that it? So you're going to get the you're going to get the calendar, and you're also going to get the materials from me after this meeting and all the links that are available. Don't forget to check whether you have access to all the entries that have been assigned to your team. And if you still don't have it by this Friday, can you just make sure that your team leader is aware and I'm aware that you're missing some access to entries, online entries or print entries if they're missing. Everything is downloadable online. As soon as we clean up the recordings, we will put them also in the same link. They're all in the same place called Judging Resources. And when it comes to looking at your entries, of course, it will be the secure server and it will require your user ID and password. It's Allison. I'll send you your team number if I mess that up. Could we review the teams?
Yep.
You want to review the team? Is this, whose question is this? Tim? Tim,
Yes.
can you speak? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your question?
I just was wondering, I missed the first couple minutes of the presentation, and if we could go through the teams again, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, the teams, you're talking about the team assignments?
Yeah, the team assignments. Or is that published somewhere? That'd be good enough.
Yeah. I mean, we purposely don't give everybody a spreadsheet with a team assignment. So if you're in team 10, for example, I sent you the names of your team members and your team leader and phone numbers. Did you not receive an email like that?
No.
Okay, let me find out what happened and I'll send it to you. And it's also because we stay incognito with the entrance. And some of the entrants are also our friends and peers. So we don't want to mess up anybody's identity. Questions for Phoebe or Anne?
This is Scott. I would just say keep on the milestones. You know, you can't think that at the end of the at the very end you're going to be able to do the entries. So keep track of those milestones and follow them, and you'll be in great shape. All competition will be in great shape.
I hope so. We have to count on everybody. Remember, there are 53 of us, so we all have to do it all at once, all together.
Right.
And and hopefully we won't have any problems. Some of us get sick during this process, and that's something that can't be avoided. But if it's an issue of having a hard time with something, and if you're a new judge in particular, you should let us know right away so that you can get help.
Yeah, or if you find that you're having trouble, you just let us know. We're not your enemies. We're your friends, and everybody's friend. Everybody's together, because we do have SWAT judges this year.
Yes,
if
do.
So if you run into trouble, we can remedy that, very easily. So don't feel bad about, if you get 2 entries done and you're on your last one and something happens. We had that last year. let us know, and we'll rush in and get the information from you, and we'll not about your problem, but we'll get the entry and we'll get it out to somebody else who can finish it up.
Okay. So we're at 8:10 by my watch. It's time to watch what's happening in Washington, D.C. and impeachment hearings and whatever. But we really thank you for sharing some of your Christmas time with us. And hopefully you didn't have to miss a Christmas party tonight. So good luck, everybody. Happy holidays. And thank you, Phoebe, and thank you, Anne, for helping us out in training this year.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for helping to prepare those materials.
Okay. All right. Let us know how you're doing and keep in touch. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.